lots of EPs. And I gotta get one of those, man. All I have is the cassette.
No. All you need is the cassette. You still have a cassette player. That dude doesn't even know what a cassette looks like.
That's true. How, I mean, I'm just interested, like, now that you've been writing, how did your approach to writing songs, the process, like, how have you approached that?
Well,
I remember when I knew you back then, you know, you were always carrying around notebooks and you were always, like, going through them and with headphones on and...
See, you met me right when that was happening, I guess, to an extent, you know. Prior to that, I didn't used to write raps like that. You know, it's not that I was like Brother Ali or Jay-Z and I would write it all in my head, but I just used to write rhymes. And so I would just scribble out 4 bars on a piece of paper, and over here scribble out 4 more bars, because it didn't matter, because the songs weren't about nothing anyway. They were just a bunch of raps with a chorus, you know. Around the time that I met you was around the time that we had started making things like God's Bathroom Floor and started working on the pre-production to Overcast and making songs that were actually about something. And so you actually met me right when I started actually carrying notebooks. And, you know, like I was talking about before with the headshots thing, it was timing, because right when I became more open-minded to realizing I could write, you know, there's no rules, I could write a rap song about anything. It doesn't have to be about your 4 things that all rap songs were about up till that point. I could write about anything. And that was the same time that I started working at the Electric Fetus. And which meant that was when I started becoming more and more, I guess, that's when I started realizing there's rows and rows and rows of records that I gotta go listen to now. You know, like prior to that, I was really mostly into rap, classic rock, just because it was familiar to me. The themes and the feelings of classic rock, I totally understand them, probably because I heard all that stuff when I was a little kid. You know, earlier funk and soul, I was very used to that, but suddenly working at the Fetus was like the next step from realizing that 770 was playing Bikini Kill. You know, it was the next thing for me to be exposed to tons of stuff. And not only that, but I had a bunch of music nerds as co-workers who could totally go, oh, you should check this out, and you should check this out. And so immediately I had the chance to be exposed to all types of writing styles for music, and that, I think, is another thing that built how I write now, or depending on your perspective, wrecked how I write now. You know, because there are plenty of people that prefer just the one-liners and ripping the mic and just, you know, really, really going at it, you know, like I used to do when I was 19 and 20, you know, whereas me personally, I hate all that stuff. And it's not because I'm trying to be a dick, it's because I really can't listen to it. I don't want to hear anybody rap like that. It's not just my stuff, but it's just kind of like, man, like, if you're going to take 4 minutes of my time, I want you to communicate something to me. And, you know, no disrespect to people who do make art for the sake of art, but I just am not in that phase anymore. I feel like things need to have a point. I can't just rap about being a rapper anymore, and nor do I want to rap about what it would be like to be a tree. You know, I want all this stuff I do. I want to make sure that there was a valid reason to do it, and that there was something that I was attempting to communicate. And so the Fetus played a big role in that, I think, because that's where I started to learn that I was a fan of all kinds of music. And it didn't matter if it was country or if it was blues. What mattered was what they were communicating to me at the time, you know. And honestly, that, the Fetus and 770, you know, affected even the way I work with Ant, in the sense of I now can understand some of what Ant does so much better, you know, because I'll go to his house and he'll play a song for me and he'll be like, yo, but just check this part out right here. And suddenly I'll be like, oh my God, dude, that is crazy, that's insane, I totally get it, you know. And it'll just be some record from some band that, you know, only made one record in 1979 or something like that, but I'll totally get it and see exactly what they were trying to communicate. And I never used to be able to hear music like that. When I was a kid, it was all about hearing somebody rip the mic. It was all about, you know, hearing somebody talk about the things that I wanted to hear about, and that's it. Whereas the Fetus and 770, both of them, really opened me up to be able to kind of go, okay, let let me give this a chance and see what they're talking about and see if I could get turned on to things that I never would have thought about before, you know. And nowadays, I think that my writing style is probably as influenced by, you know, things like Willie Nelson and Isaac Brock and Tom Waits as much as it's influenced by KRS-One or Del or LL Cool J. You know, and then like I say, like, on one hand, depending on your perspective, that might be a great thing. Some people might be like, you know, some of the stuff that he's done is way better than the shit he was doing when he was, you know, 24. Whereas on the other hand, I gotta imagine anybody that's 24 or younger would probably rather hear the stuff that I was doing at 24 because maybe they think more like that, you know? It's like, I realize I'm 35 now. And so for me to think that I can go play a sold-out all-ages show at First Ave that's full of 16, 17, and 18-year-olds amazes me because I'm twice the age of some of these people. And I stop and I wonder, like, how is there anything that I could say right now that can be relevant to these guys? You know, it's like what I'm thinking about and what I'm dealing with is so different from what they must be thinking about or dealing with, you know, but maybe that's just my insecurity. Maybe I'm just, you know, worried about getting old or worried about becoming more and more irrelevant or worried about, you know, what I can still contribute. But it amazes me that we can do all age shows and pack rooms with kids because I just don't understand. You know, I can't imagine at 16 that I wanted to hear some 35-year-old rap. I can't imagine what he would have been rapping about, you know? Then again, I guess Chuck was really old when I liked him, you know? I mean, I guess I don't know, you know? But and at the same time, I don't want to pander to young people and be like, yo, I'm going to rap about the stuff they got to deal with and think about, like, what are the things that young people got to think about and deal with? You wish you had a car. You wish you had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. The last My Chemical Romance album pissed you off. I don't know. Like, what are, you know, and so instead I got to stick to what I do and stick to what I know and what I think about. And so there's a constant insecurity that, you know, a lot of the people that are into what we do, why are they? What is it that we're doing that they're so into? Because, you know, if I look at the last record that me and Anthony put out, I'm like, man, the things I'm talking about on that record, you know, fatherhood, prescription drugs, you know, what the hell is a 17-year-old want to listen to that for? You know what I mean? Like, if I was 17, man, I want to hear about boobs. Rap about boobs. Like,
sorry. You still kind of